Hey, this is Todd Clark, the Executive Director of TIVA, the Television Internet Video Association, and we are down at the video show, formerly known as the GV Expo, right here at the DC Convention Center, December 4th and 5th, 2 days of panels and workshops, discussions, and presentations of hardware, software, any product line you can think of, you can find down here at the Convention Center. We are at the live streaming booth, a collaboration between the video show and TIVA, and the point of the whole thing is to talk to some of the movers and shakers and people who are doing some amazing things. So I've got with me in the chair, as I say, the J.J. Cunningham, who's a writer and a director.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a couple of different things, but tell me what makes up JJC Media? What do you offer to folks? Why would they come to you?
Well, JJC Media is my own production company. It's focused on short films and feature films, and me as a writer-director. Now, I don't primarily go out and solicit information, but if scripts come my way and it's something that I feel like I can definitely execute, then I try to go into a partnership with that person to get this project done. But for the most part, I focus on faith-based, family-oriented films, character-driven films.
So give me an example of what that entails. So I'm kind of intrigued with that particular niche, I guess you call it niche area, niche market, because it feels like it's both limitless in the number of kinds of stories, but there are some boundaries, some walls around which you've decided to focus. So what does differentiate you in terms of that definition of family-based? You said spiritual-based or?
Spiritual-based, family-based.
Okay.
Well, to me, what it focuses on is being able to tell a story where there is someone in that story, a main character, hopefully, that you root for.
Right.
You know, that you...
A hero.
Exactly. And not necessarily someone that flies around with a cape,
right.
But it could be something like Field of Dreams. You know, somebody that has a desire to do something, and sees it through.
So would you agree with me saying as an observational that you want people to walk away having identified with this hero and their struggle and having emerged, having learned something, gained something,
that's right,
and grown, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I think there's with the film media, there is an avenue to educate as well, and hopefully by watching the film, you'll think a little bit different and maybe even a little bit smarter. Who knows?
So you mentioned as we were getting ready to sit down here and talk here something in regards to this concept of hiding.
Yes.
So I'm going to take a guess, a two sentence guess, that what you're getting at is perhaps the democratization of platform access, right?
Yes.
Meaning that people have an access, if they choose to have so, to a platform from which they can tell a story.
Yes.
So it's hard to have an excuse, maybe that's the hiding side of it,
yes,
for not getting your story out there. On the other hand, you said, what's interesting to me is that, and I don't know if I agree with you on this, maybe to some degree, because as artists we have an ego, but how you're also saying that not only can people not hide, but that there's a resistance, I don't put words in your mouth, but a resistance to hearing feedback.
Yes.
So why do you say that?
Well, I wouldn't say all people, but the example I give is I work with a lot of actors sometimes.
Okay.
And actors as a profession, like they're always given feedback.
Right. Director's job. Right.
Right. But if you ever been on a set where someone criticizes the director,
right,
oh, it's a whole different story. Or they talk about the writing, it's a whole different story.
Right.
It's almost like why would this happen? Well, how could you say that? But actors go through this all the time.
Right.
And so it's being able to say, you know what, breathe a little, live a little, put yourself in the actor's shoes, like being able to take some feedback.
Right.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
But I think that would differentiate you as a director. I mean, I've been in I've worn your hats, all your hats.
Yeah.
So I'm a producer, director, editor, scriptwriter, and also actor.
Right.
So I've been in front of the camera, behind the camera. So I would say, where I agree with you is that I think anyone who is putting work out there, whether it's your directing work or for your script as a piece of work, should not ever be so immune and in a bubble to not get any feedback.
That's right.
But I think it's also time and place. Like if I showed up at 9 a.m. ready to go or 8 a.m. ready to go and direct with actors, and I'm giving them some ideas about what we're going to be doing that morning, and here's some context and more stuff. The last thing I want for someone else to walk on set and say, you know what, what you're doing and telling the director to do that, you're not going to get the best out of them. That would be the wrong time and place for that to happen.
That's right. That's right.
But another point, someone may say, you know, when you work with Mary or Richard here, they want to be challenged.
Yes.
Versus, you know, young Philip over here doesn't like that. He needs to be told or exactly what to do.
That's
so
right.
I think getting some feedback and input from people you respect and maybe you've invited. Maybe
Yes.
I'm just feeling prickly because as a director, I would hate to have someone feel like they have permission to kind of cut me down, criticize me on set. Right. That's not what you're saying.
Right, but not at all. And here's another side of it too.
Okay.
You know, if there's a goal you like to achieve, and you're so focused on that goal,
Right.
if the criticism comes and it causes you to deviate from your goal, then maybe that really wasn't the goal that you wanted to aspire to.
That's what I'm saying. So I think any time you get feedback from someone you respect, right? Even someone who may not even be in the business, it all matters.
Yeah, it does.
Right? So you can set it aside, or you can incorporate it.
Right.
And it sounds like you're a director that would be willing if someone said, you know, JJ, I would love to talk to you a little bit about what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I give you some
Yeah.
unasked
Yeah,
for advice? I have a feeling you'd say, lay it on me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I've had that happen to me numerous times, and the key was always I could either go in my bedroom and put the
Right.
sheets up
Right,
and
right,
go
right.
or say, you know what,
Interesting.
I'll take it and I'm going to move forward.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are doing, you know, this art.
Yeah.
That if that happens, you know, they will cease to exist.
Yeah.
And
You're
so, you know, it's a message that I like to get out a lot of times is you know, for directors, for writers, for painters, for screenwriters, you know, is to take some feedback from time to time, good, bad, or indifferent.
So let me ask, so it sounds like most of your work is self-generated. You're doing the writing and you're doing the directing of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say someone does have a project and they know JJ's aesthetic and their style. What would that person be most likely to be pursuing in a storyline to get your attention? And we talked about it a few minutes ago, hero and family. Well, what are some other characteristics? Do you want there to be neat and final resolutions of things? Are some of your works that you write open-ended in terms of denouement and resolution? How much of a complete story, how neatly does it have to be wrapped? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's all got to start with an idea. So the idea has to grab me. But more importantly, I like to know how we're going to start.
Yep.
I know what's going to be our obstacle.
Yeah. How we're going to get there.
Yep, and how we're going to overcome it. And then from there, if it's not tightly packed, you know, that's okay.
That's a certain type of storytelling.
Right. But if it's just, we're just going to throw it on the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
I'm not the guy for that.
So you want people who have a clear vision and they really have thought through it. They've thought the story through enough to be able to argue for its merits.
Right.
So the reason I'm doing this is exactly because that kind of a thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So in just a few minutes we have left, talk about a recent title or recent work that you've done that you're proud of or you'd want people to find somewhere.
Sure.
Where do they find it?
Yep. On my website, jjcmedia.net.
jjcmedia.net.
Yep. I have a list. I have video of all my films.
Okay.
The last project I did was actually it's a fashion film. And just how it came about was I called up my DP and I said, hey, let's do something different. You know, we got some time, we got some energy. Let's do something different. So we did this fashion film. It was mainly just for our demo reels, but after crafting it a bit, I sent it to a couple festivals and it got in. So it premiered in New York and it premiered in Toronto. Now, do I call myself a fashion film director? No, not at all.
No, but you're a film director, and you can fill in the blank after that.
Exactly.
You should be able to tell any story.
Yeah, I was able to craft that story, and it's one other thing that I can do. Yeah. So it was a great happenstance.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, learn a little bit more about JJCmedia.net.
Yes.
.net.
Yes.
And if people do have scripts, they shouldn't be afraid to at least get it in front of you. You can take a look at
No,
it.
not at all. Not at all. I don't do a lot of social media,
Right.
because I believe you can contact me through my internet. I
Yeah.
mean, through my website.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look for me on Facebook or just contact me directly.
The work speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We've got a couple more hours left and several more interviews left to go. So come on down to the video show or keep tuning in. I hope everyone's taking prodigious notes because we got some great talent that we're talking to throughout the day. So we'll be back in just a few minutes with one more person. Thank you.